parenting yourself?
I'm very intense, as you probably noticed. Very passionate about what I talk about. And normally if I talk about something to someone, they believe me because it's because of the passion I get. So when I'm talking about my kids about something, I'm in their heads, I'm in their blood, I'm in their soul, and I'm telling them what I believe and what is right and what is wrong. And then I'm not using a past example of what's happened to me. And that's because then you can say, listen, this is what happened to me when I was younger, didn't work out. This is where you really should do it. Otherwise, you're just going to end up like your dad making
stories,
a run,
Just to tell you that you see storytelling, people underestimate the power of storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
And when I studied sales, I've done NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and I didn't go to university, I went to the School of Life, and I learned the School of Life when I got a sales job. And I went on different courses, and I did it on, you see, when I used to come down to the college, if people don't know, I met Mark at a PT academy when you're studying to be a PT. Now, I was there to give a free advice. I've been in the industry, but I was also there to sell a service. And I always used to smash sales and get people just not necessarily handing over money, but comfortable because I was good at telling stories. And
good salesman.
When you're telling kids a story, it hits home a lot more. And I never got that. My dad never used to tell me his stories because he was scared they might inspire me to do the same thing, opposed to the lesson and the moral.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge thing that I think I could have gained from. Stories,
personal experiences. Yeah, personal experiences. Yeah. I mean, life is a sales pitch. That's what life is. Life is a sales pitch. You're selling yourself, even to your children. You're selling yourself. I'm selling myself now. So life is all about a sales pitch. If you can talk, right, and you're a likable fella, you can get away with a lot of things in life. Or you can get places, or get things done in life. If you're sat there and you're a quiet person, a submissive person, and you're like, oh, you can go past. You can go past. Oh, no, you can go past. And you'll be sat in the same place.
Nice
forever,
guys finish last.
Rather than pushing forward.
Do you think you have a healthy balance, Mark, of the two?
Healthy balance, you got to have a healthy balance, otherwise you'd be an idiot.
Do you think that maybe that balance from a more feminine energy with your daughter
has helped you really listen, like I said, she's opened up my eyes. I was pretty much a dickhead, really, to be fair, when it comes to women, So, I was pretty much a dickhead. Now I'm very pro-women. Very, very pro-women.
That's amazing.
Do you know what I mean? Pro-women, anti-prejudice about everything. If someone's prejudiced, anti-prejudice. I don't care what you're prejudiced about, I'm anti it. Right? Simple as that. Right? I don't like it. I like people to be fair. I like people to be treated fair and treated for what they are rather than,
And do you think your fitness played a massive role in you balancing yourself out, like your physical, your mental, and just aligning yourself with your passion that you have?
Do you know what? I've always had this obsessive thing. Now, when I say obsessive, people use the word as a negative sort of trait, obsessive. Like, he's obsessive over a girl. No,
dedication.
Dedication. Oh, obsessive. It is. My mum always says I've always got to have an obsession. Do you know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with that. I like the phrase. You're either obsessed or you're average.
Yeah, obsession.
I like that phrase.
My obsession before was going out and enjoying myself. Let's put it that way, okay? Going out and enjoying. That's the only way I'm allowed to put it. Right, so I've been warned. Right, so going out and enjoying myself. That was my obsession. Right. Also, as soon as my children come, I've always been. I helped bring up my brother was 9 years younger than me. So I remember when I used to look after him, change his nappies, know how to hold him, know how to sterilise bottles. Like, so when my first child come along, I still remembered it, sort of thing. So I was always, I've had that. Then going back to obsession, that's what we was talking about. Sorry. So now my obsession before Paris come along was obviously my children, because I was making sure whatever happened, doesn't matter what weekend it was. If it was my weekend, I don't care if I had a date with the most hottest girl in the world. It's not happening. My children are coming first. Not even a blink of the eyelids. They were coming first. It might have been the best rave in the world. It might be the best Ibiza event in a row. and my brother works over there. I could go there for nothing. But if my children were coming in that weekend, that's it. I can't go. So that was my obsession. Then, like I said, when my daughter come and live with me, my obsession was to make her have a very stable life like I did, you know, and I knew she didn't have a mum, and I was obsessed that she wasn't going to be one of them girls who had daddy issues. You know what I mean? Because I know how important dad is to...
Just on that, you just said on something before that as soon as your kids, you know, you got them in the weekend, everything lock off.
Yeah.
It's them.
Yeah.
I'm like that as well.
Yeah.
I remember my dad instilled that to me. And yeah, like there isn't... Nothing. If I have the kids...
Nothing else is going on.
I'm not coming out. I'm not doing it. I used to be able to, my dad, because he had to be number one in her life as a granddad. I think because he saw the mistakes he made through me, and because it was his first granddaughter, you know, it was very precious to him. So he did everything. So he'd be like, yeah, go out. So there was a point where I could just go, but even then, like I would come home, I wake up, make a breakfast, all that sort of stuff. And that's still instilled into me days of discipline. Like when it comes to the weekend and I have the kids, that's what it is. But I know there's a group of men out there that don't have that instilled in them naturally or groomed in them from responsibility. But what's the difference?
There's a group of us friends. I've got 3 really close friends. There's about 15 or 20 of us who've hung around each other for 20 odd years. Every one of us are good dads. Every one of us looks after our children. No one even bats an eyelid like it's like, oh yeah, you got the children this weekend or nothing like that. Yeah. My girlfriend, she's from Reading and she's seen some typical guys out there who are treating them. And she comes, she's like, all your friends, they're all like we'd go out and like we could bring in all our kids with us. Like my guys is like an afternoon sat in the pub having a roast or something, we'd bring all our kids with us. You know what I mean? And most of them are predominantly black. Do you know what I mean? So when they talk about like, this is what really frustrates me as well, I could go into it. It's like when they start saying that black men are not good fathers, listen, you don't know what black men are capable of. You don't know. You're stereotypically stereotyping black people as this and that.
Do you know
if you go to Jamaica, right? If you go to Jamaica and sit in Jamaica, most of the population there are law-abiding citizens and family-going, church-going people. You got the 1% of people out there shooting each other and doing this. Most of them, if you go around and if you burgle someone's neighborhood, your people throwing stones at you. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I mean, for people to...
Do you think there was a blip in a generation? Because I said, now, all my pals who have kids, they're on it. They're on it.
Good, yeah.
On it. And there's more... They have more issues that they can't see their kids enough.
Yes. Yeah.
But however, I think I don't know if it was late 80s and 90s, was there a generation where there was conforming to the stereotype?
There was that pimp mentality.
Right, okay.
There's a pimp mentality. I know, I remember, because I was born
because Jamaicans have a bad opinion. I know a Spanish girl now. Oh, you're Jamaican? Oh, I know what you're about. You know, guapa, I know, yeah. There is.
But there was, when I moved to Southampton, I was 7. And that was basically moving from one of the most blackest areas to, there was no black people there. And the fashion then was, you know, the fashion now is going out, maybe garage or house or whatever, you know, going out and partying. Then it was skinheads, all right? Everybody was wearing skinhead boots. No joke, everyone was big 16-hole Dr. Martens up there. That's why I beat up everybody, by the way. You know what I mean, right? But it was also in Southampton. There was one little area in Southampton that they had all the Jamaicans, a couple of roads. But that also area was a red light district. Now, the red light district is very famous throughout the world because of the ports in Southampton. So it was called Derby Road. Now, it's very literally famous throughout the world because we've got 2 tides coming out of Southampton because of the Isle of Wight. Only place in the world that's got 2 tides that come out each day. So that was good for the ports. So we've got a massive port down there. So all the sailors used to come in, get down to the thing, pay a few £, but when I was down there, the people who was running it was black. It was a pimp era. So that was, for me, that's how in Southampton, black people was looked at that sort of way. Do you know what I mean? And so a couple of generations after that, I don't know about London so much, a couple of generations after that, they were still acting like them. You know what I mean?
In London, where it was, I think London's a very, I don't want to say image of like what New York would be to America. London's like that to England. And I think there was that point where drugs hit the streets hard. Because I have family directly where there's a generation that they conform to that stereotype, and it's because of drugs. So I think there was that period. I don't know if it's 85 to 95. I think that was that point. And plus,
you had the crack period, didn't you?
Yeah.
You had the crack period. Now, crack period in, thank God nowadays, it's really looked down on, and even the people out there were doing their thing. Everyone stays away from it. But back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was rife. It was rife. You talk about, I think it was more like in the mid 80s in America. Then when it moved over to here, it was like the late 80s and the early 90s. And it was rife. Yeah, that's what took over people. People were selling their baby mothers out on the street to pimp and get money.
Have you seen that they've got that series on Netflix? It's about the crack pandemic.
Do you know what? I started watching it, but I find all that really boring.
I switched it off as well.
I switched it off as well.
Mark, you're literally talking about the same thing.
I know, you know what it is, but think about it. Think about one of these things.
It's really interesting.
One of these things about it is, it's like I don't like watching things that it's like documentaries. It's got to be something really oh my God.
What would you watch as a documentary?
Fitness, probably.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even watch.
Same with him. I tried to watch it. I got halfway through and I've seen and heard this a million times.
And also it depresses me.
It's the same thing. It's just from a different person's perspective.
Yeah. But plus I lived there at the time, and like
I know it was a setup. I know that it was pushed. I know there was a propaganda around it. I know all this already. So it's like they're not telling me. Maybe they're selling it new to a new generation.
Yeah. And it's boring. And also, look, it's like I like to. You know, for me, if I'm going to watch something, it's like, obviously I'm fitness crazy. I'm in, you know, that's my life, and I live, breathe it, think it, even I dream it sometimes, you know? So, you know, and I'm looking at stuff and I'm thinking, so I'd rather watch say Brandon Hendrickson, the new men's physiques, Mr. Olympia. I'd rather see him train. Or see him go through his training system, maybe talk about different areas of his body. Like the other day, he was training. I know this is completely alien to you, right? But he was training his chest, and he was saying about his genetics. He was saying about, listen, he was doing a lot of cable work, right? And he was saying that I was going on cable work, so I'm trying to streamline myself. So if I jump on these free weights, I'm just going to burn because I'm going to grow too much. Yeah. So he said, what I'm trying to do, which is really, I never really did that. So I'm trying to work on my cleavage area. To push this out like that. And I was thinking, yeah. So that sort of thing, I'm like, I'll go away and think about it for days. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. But the actual...
So you like the documentaries where they're more of a self-help and something you can apply. Yeah. So it has to be useful to your current obsessions or focus right now, right?
Obsessions.
Okay.